Good evening. My name is Brian Livingston. I've been your Frisco City Councilman for Place 6 for the last 3 years. I currently serve on the Frisco Budget and Audit Committee, the Legislative Committee, and the Governance Committee. The first time I ran on lower taxes, less density, and strong support of our first responders. I'm proud to say I've delivered all those, and I continue to focus on them. Largely going to repeat what the mayor said. I was on the Reopen Frisco recovery team along with Tony. Appreciate what the chamber did to communicate to our small businesses. We really focused on removing red tape, removing obstacles for businesses to get open, so the city government didn't get in the way of the small business owner being successful. We did everything in a measured approach. We looked at things to be safe, responsible, but smart. And I think Frisco is getting paid the benefit for that. We are seeing success come back, sales tax holding up. And I think the city of Frisco did a great job. I was glad to be a small part of it, and I appreciate the time.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, Mr. Livingston. All right, you know the drill. So how many council meetings have you attended in person prior to filing to run?
Prior to filing to run, I've been pretty much every council meeting for the last 5 years.
And how long have you lived in Frisco?
11 years.
How many times have you voted in local elections?
I believe all but one of them. I missed one.
And are you or your business currently a Frisco Chamber member?
Not my current business, but previous one, yes.
Have you read the legislative agenda for the chamber?
I have, yes.
And the tough one, is it the Cowboys, the Stars, the Mavericks, or the Rangers?
It's the Mavericks.
All right.
All right.
We have consensus so
I'm picking
far.
up on the trend here. So,
All right, so Mr. Livingston, with the Frisco Chamber of Commerce being a business organization, how would you describe the city's handling of the COVID-19 pandemic? And do you agree with the assessment that it was a failure?
As I said in the last forum, I gave it an A-. There's always rooms to improve, but no, I do not agree with that. We do have an emergency plan. Chief Pyland was the head of it. We implemented it immediately. Dr. Gamber, who's our medical head, got involved immediately. We talked to members of the health departments of both Collin and Denton County to stay informed. We monitored hospitals, we monitored infections, we monitored recoveries, and we took appropriate action. We had special meetings, we met regularly, we addressed it as well as we could. Frisco, I think when you look at the results compared to some of the cities around us, I think to say that we failed is just not being aware really of the circumstances of what's happening in Frisco.
So follow-up question, you gave it an A-. What would you do to make it an A+?
I think there was just some initial delay to understand the severity of it, and I think that's also, you can look at the state level and the federal level. Maybe just initially moved a little quicker to start, but once we got going, I think we did a great job, and I'd be remiss not to mention Ron Patterson and that, who led the recovery team and kind of organized all of us and took all these great ideas and put them on one page and managed the phone call with a lot of opinionated people.
Okay, you want to get into some trivia?
we can do that.
Okay, so
He's been here a while.
in what year was the Frisco Chamber of Commerce founded?
I don't know that one.
Good.
So
I know that one.
you do?
I do.
Tony, tell us the answer.
1970, because we were supposed to be celebrating our 50th anniversary this year before everything happened. So
I should have been able to do math on that one.
We were really excited
Yeah.
about that 50-year
Yes,
anniversary. Okay, so let's see. In what year did Frisco go to home rule and adopt a city charter? I'm giving you all the year
Yeah,
ones, sorry.
I don't know that one. I've read it and I've talked about it, but I don't recall it off the top of my head.
I didn't know this one either. Tony?
1987. And that is when we, in fact, brought in George Peer for our only city manager that entire time.
I knew his name.
Yes.
I would have nailed that one.
All
Thank
the
you very
fun
much,
facts.
sir.
All right, Mr. Livingston, come on up. And speaking of the legislative agenda and local control, what is your definition of local control and how much of it do you think should be in place? What's one example where local control has been taken away?
So my definition of local control is the voters elect us as the city council, and we get to make the decisions. The case that I think stands out the most to me of taking a local control away was the recent state legislature's move to regulate building materials. I think that was just a mistake that I am very hopeful gets corrected in the next legislature. It does not allow us to set standards for the buildings and the materials that we have in Frisco, which I think has a long-term negative effect on Frisco. I think we've mitigated it for the short term. Hopefully, the state legislature will listen to us and correct that one mistake.
Very good. I'll tell you what, we have you up here. Speaking of land and different tracts of land, if somebody were to go to the southwest corner of the tollway in Cotton Gin Road, a large empty tract of land there, what would that be known as?
Grand Park?
Correct, sir. Thank you very much. Challenge is, Mr. Livingston?
So just a reminder, this is the flag you can throw when you have a question, and you have 30 seconds now to ask your question or challenge, and then she can respond.
I could ask a question. I'd like to just address it.
That's fine.
Challenge a statement that your opponent made.
So just regarding SB2, the comment was just made, Frisco just passed a no new tax rate, a no non-voter approved rate. We added 7 new first responders. I don't understand what's wrong with not wanting to pay more taxes. Frisco's managing it. It does make us a little sharper and a little better. So I don't think it takes away our ability to hire first responders, operate the city, or grow the city. When the city grows, the new taxes will pay for the growth. Frisco is an example of this working well, and that's my comment.
Very good. Thank you, sir. And thank you for using the challenge flag. And last to Mr. Livingston, you would like to come on up? You'll have one quick question here with a 1-minute response, and then you'll be able to do your closing.
I would just like to say I'm in the community all the time. If you're out and about as well, I stand
You'll
up
have
like a
that
sore thumb at 6'7".
Opportunity in your closing. All right, sir, you've somewhat alluded to this already. 3 years ago, when you ran for your first term on council, you had some comments where you indicated you would want to reduce the amount of development or certain types of developments throughout the city and working with the developers. Since that time, however, though, over the last 3 years, you have voted for large developments like the Fields development and the redevelopment of Hall Park. If somebody were to ask you, has your position changed over those 3 years, how would you respond?
Well, first of all, I would say yes, my views have changed having been on the city council for 3 years and just understanding different things. No, I will not vote to approve rezoning apartments that butt up against a homeowner's house. I voted against Frisco 45. It was off of Legacy 121 and Spring Creek. It was too dense, it was going to create traffic, and it was impeding on the homeowners. I voted against the railhead at Main and Legacy, because it was going to create traffic on Legacy. I asked them to make it exit to the tollway. They didn't, and I voted against it. I voted for the Hall Park redevelopment that included roughly 2,500 apartments, and I did that after discussions that lasted about 3 hours to push the apartments away from the southern border, the southern homes, push them closer to the tollway. So I still stand by my principles, but I negotiate, and I'm trying to do what's best for Frisco, not just a narrow political agenda of me not wanting to cram apartments here. Good developments need apartments.
Very good. Thank you very much.
We have a flag.
We have a flag. Got it in just in time. I think I saw her running down the sidelines. If you'd like to come to the podium, you have 30 seconds to state your question or clarification.
Yeah, I just need clarification because I believe there were 5 apartment units that he had approved, and that totaled 14,000 units total. So I understand that he is very adamant to no multifamily, no new apartments. However, that's not what the messaging indicates, and so I would just like some clarification on the other ones.
Thank you. Mr. Livingston, you have 30 seconds to clarify that point, respond to it, and then you'll be able to do your 2-minute closing.
As I said, I'm not going to focus on a narrow political agenda. I'm not a fan of high-density apartments. I'm not a fan of high-density apartments that butt up next to a homeowner's house. I have voted against those when I felt that those were the cases in front of me. The other cases, they were part of a bigger development. We reduced density, a lot of them. And I believe they were all unanimous votes among the city council with a lot of debate and usually a reduction in apartments.
Thank you, sir. All right. You now have your 2 minutes for closing statements.
Sure. First of all, I'd like to thank the chamber, you, Crystal, and Tony, and Sadaf, and Cy for coming here tonight, and for everybody that's joining. The last 7 months have been a challenge for Frisco. We've seen things we never thought we'd see, and hopefully we don't ever see again. I think you saw what was best about Frisco. Everybody coming together to work to survive this. We helped our small businesses. You see groups on Facebook popping up. Things in Frisco are good. but our best days are clearly ahead of us. We're a very vibrant community. We're a diverse community, and everybody has the opportunity to be a success in Frisco. And I'm proud to be a small part of the leadership team that gets to do this. As we look forward, right now I'm concerned about a lot of the things I see in the nation. I am concerned about violence in our streets. We've avoided it here in Frisco. We have a great police department, and I'm committed to making sure that they stay funded, equipped, and trained to handle anything that comes here, not only for our safety, but for their safety. People come to Frisco because of the schools. They stay here because they're safe. Our economy, our livelihood, our schools, everything depends, to be successful, everything depends on us keeping Frisco safe. And I am committed to doing that. And I'm the only candidate for Place 6 that signed the Back the Blue pledge at the request of the Frisco Police Officer Association, because it's critical that the men and women that are out protecting us know that their city councilman has their back. And I have their back, and I'm not ashamed of it. I appreciate your time tonight. Thank you, and I wish everyone the best of luck.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
We want to thank the candidates here for Place 6. Once again, we have the 3 candidates that are with us. We have, once again, Mr. Sai Krishna, incumbent Mr. Brian Livingston, Ms. Sadav Haq. We want to thank all of you. And for those watching at home, we're going to have a very, very brief transition here while we bring in our next 7 candidates for Place 5. So stay tuned, go grab some popcorn, a drink. We'll be right back with you.